I'm retired and I live a pretty simple life. I'm debt-free and I live pretty frugally, at least my definition of frugal. Frugal and cheap are not the same thing. Frugal doesn't mean spending as little as possible. It means spending wisely based on your priorities. One person's definition of a modest income is also very different from another person's. When I've made videos on my income and my spending, I get a lot of comments from people asking how I can live on such a small amount of money, but I also get a lot of comments where people say I'm living on a large amount of money, so it's really all subjective. In 2024, the federal poverty level for one person was $15,060 per year. I would consider that low income. The median salary for Americans aged 55 to 64, which is my age group, is $65,900 a year. So that's average, and then I'll call anything over $120,000 a year higher income. You pay higher premiums for Medicare Part B if your modified adjusted gross income is above $103,000. Now that I'm retired, I live on about $41,000 a year pre-tax. My modified adjusted gross income should be under $31,000, so it's not quite low income. But it's also quite a bit less than the average income. That's why I call it modest income. There's no magic amount of money that will work for everyone. It's all very personal to you. It comes down to what your expenses are and how much more you want to have beyond that to have fun with. I'm not at all into material possessions. Most of the people I know like to have nice things, and there's nothing wrong with that if you're willing to work for it. I just wasn't. I value my time and my health so much more than money. For me, living frugally and being retired is way more important than having extra money. Back in 2017, I made the goal to retire in 7 to 8 years by living below my means. Saving enough money in 7 to 8 years is a lot of really disciplined hard work. It took me almost 8 years, but I got my retirement savings built up, built a bridge account, and paid off my mortgage. I personally wanted to have my mortgage paid off before I retired, but lots of people retire with a mortgage or even rent. One of the first things I did was to create a very accurate budget. I have several videos about my budget that I'll link below. So far, I'm actually living on less than I budgeted. Another thing I do is shop around for the best rates. You'd be surprised at how much money you can save doing this. For example, I shopped around for auto and homeowners insurance. Geico ended up having the best rates for me. But that will vary a lot depending on your circumstances. I bundle auto and home. My auto insurance is $44 a month and my homeowners insurance is $60 a month. I also have to pay property taxes, and unfortunately, you can't shop around for rates there. My property taxes are $242 a month right now. Property taxes on your home are determined at the state and county levels, so how much you pay totally depends on where you live. I live in Washington State. When I turn 61 at my modest income level, I should be able to freeze my property taxes. Planning ahead for taxes in retirement makes a huge difference. If you keep your taxable income low, you can pay less taxes and qualify for government programs. I have a video about this that I'll also link below. Now that I'm retired, I do have extra time. I think of this as a superpower. Every month I try to target one bill. One month it was my cell phone bill. I shopped around for cell phone plans. I now have Cricket Wireless, which uses AT&T towers. I pay a flat $30 a month for 5 gigabytes of data and unlimited texts and calls. That's really all I need. My daughter has a similar plan with Mint Mobile and she only pays $15 a month. I also have a 2% cashback credit card. I put everything on it, but I always pay it off at the end of the month. I make between $25 and $50 a month doing this. It also makes it easy for me to look up my expenses when I'm doing my budgeting. I keep my cash in a high-yield savings account and move it to checking as needed in order to earn as much interest as possible. I make almost all of my meals and I cook from scratch. I only use half of the recommended amount of laundry detergent. I stopped cable and went to streaming instead. I just have Netflix with ads, Peacock, and several free channels now. I don't eat out very much and I grow my own vegetables in the summer. I buy generic. Most generic items are just as good as the name brand ones, but not all are. I recently bought some generic wax paper and I hate it. Small changes like cooking at home and reducing optional expenses can add up to big savings over time. Being frugal doesn't mean sacrificing your quality of life, but finding smart and resourceful ways to stretch your dollars. I think of myself as frugal, but I am willing to spend money on things I care about. I'll spend money on experiences like travel or concerts. I recently spent $75 for a wine and brunch river cruise with my friends. I also spend more money on groceries than many people do. I eat very healthy. What I put into my body is really important to me. On a typical grocery trip, I'll buy spinach, avocados, asparagus, mushrooms, bell peppers, blueberries, things like that. I buy a lot of produce and whole foods, and they are expensive. Buying healthy food is not something I'm willing to compromise on. My health and well-being are my #1 priority. My financial health comes second. I do have coupon apps on my phone that help, and I will go to stores that are having sales. On the other hand, I don't buy things like expensive specialty coffees like Starbucks, and I don't buy very many clothes. I spend money on what really matters to me. I'm still driving a 2010 Mazda that I've had for 14 years. I will eventually get another car, but I haven't had a car payment in 8 years. That saves a ton of money. I have regular maintenance done like oil changes, and I should be good with this car for at least another 5 years. Being frugal, I also don't like to pay somebody to fix things around my house if it's something I can do myself. YouTube has videos on how to fix absolutely everything. I've learned how to fix my underground sprinklers, my leaky shower head, reprogram my garage remote, unclog a sink drain, and hundreds of things like that. I'm getting ready to try to do my own flooring. I'm going to install either luxury vinyl plank or laminate. If you have the time, fixing things yourself is a great way to be frugal and save money. Many people live paycheck to paycheck and are always in debt. Some people don't think financial freedom is within reach. But you can change that. If it's important enough to you, you can make it happen. I'm not saying it's easy, but financial freedom is more achievable than you think, even at lower incomes. Some people will warn you that you do not want to retire on a modest income. They'll say you can't afford to do anything other than sit around the house. But for me, most of the things I love to do are free. I don't want or need a lot of material things. I worked hard, saved and invested, and lived below my means so I could retire sooner and have more time. Living a modest retired life is simple for me. It really depends on your lifestyle and what you value. It's a choice. I prefer a low-cost life without working, but others don't. For me, it's about making my time my own again, but I don't judge anyone for how they choose to live. Do you consider yourself frugal? Do you live on a modest income? If you want to share, feel free to leave a comment. If you're seeing me for the first time, hi, I'm Julie and this channel's Happy on Monday. Thanks for joining me. If you found this helpful, please like. And if you're interested in early retirement, consider subscribing. I'm going to leave you with a quote. Look to others for inspiration, but never for comparison. Hope to see you again soon.